So we would recommend that you keep your questions. You can post your questions, but we shall answer them during the course of this session, and hence the reason for this session. So students, you're asking if you need to have vast experience in programming for the program to apply. So all the questions that you have, we would recommend you hold them for the end until after the presentation, because we believe some of them will be answered in this information session, and that is why we are having it. So your question will definitely be answered for you. Okay, so we'll start in a minute. All right, it's 15:03. I think we can start. We have a very short session. Welcome everybody to the BongoHive FinTech Challenge Information Session, powered by BongoHive and FSTZ Zambia. My name is Peter Nawa, and I will be your host for this session. I'm a startup coach at BongoHive. So not to spend much of your time, we shall drill into it. Just give me a moment. So with us, we have FSTZ Zambia to speak about the amazing work that FSTZ Zambia is doing in the country, and also why they have partnered to do this FinTech challenge. I will let Charity Chikumbi to give a few words. She is head for policy and digital financial services at FSTZ Zambia. Charity, you may take it away.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Welcome to the session this afternoon. So I'm in charge of digital financial services and policy at Financial Sector Deepening Zambia. The Zambian Financial Sector Deepening Zambia is a Zambian organization working closely with key players throughout the economy to ensure that all Zambians are financially healthy, especially to ensure that we onboard the excluded and the underserved. When we talk about financial healthy, we mean that you have access to financial services, but as well as usage and planning and financial literacy to understand and make an informed choice. We help rural families who are households, women, youth, low-income people, and other households in Zambia to understand and access a range of sustainable, comparable, and affordable financial services. We try to expand financial inclusion. We're working on different interventions that will bring about growth in financial inclusion. We collaborate with both the public and the private sector institutions to make the Zambian financial markets work for the poor and generally work better. So we are sponsored by the UK Aid, by CEDA, by Rural Financial Expansion Program, RUFEP in Zambia, by Comic Relief and the Jersey Overseas Aid. As Financial Sector Deepening Zambia, we have found that supporting the development of the innovative products, very key to growing financial inclusion. We understand that if the right people, the fintechs, financial technology, using technology to reach the underserved, then we can increase financial inclusion. The products, the traditional banks have done their good work and brought about financial inclusion, but on their own, they cannot reach some of the areas where it should count to take financial inclusion to, so that the people's lifestyles are changed, there's an impact and they grow. So as Financial Sectors Deepening Zambia, we work through thematic areas. We work through digital and policy, where I'm coming from. We work through inclusive insurance. In inclusive insurance, we're working to make sure that the smallholder farmer is included. I think you have heard about what we are doing in making sure that there's weather insurance. We also work with informal finance. Like I said, the form of finance alone cannot bring about full inclusion. Some of the formal inclusion will come through the informal. So we're working with Servants Group, we're working in Luapula province with our traditional leaders who bring the people together, and they're given financial empowerment and access to financial services, and they have financial literacy, understand income, understand expenditure, and when they have access to informal finance, then we see them growing into the formal finance. We also work in small and medium income SMEs. We are working in the southern province, trying to see how we can empower the little shop at the corner that is selling groceries or little agro products, making them map out into groups or saving groups so that they access finance and grow and provide liquidity. We're working in regulation on mobile money. We're working on regulation with PIA in insurance. We are working at making the markets in the financial services grow. We've been part of the growth in the financial system, working with regulators such as the Bank of Zambia, the ZICTA, and we work with PIA, we work with CCPC, because we know we are not players in the market ourselves, we are market facilitators, so we don't directly go to change the situation, but we work with those who are already on the ground, we support them and stand with them. And so we know that we've got to create a platform to ensure that new people, startups, find out what the pain points are in society and design products that answer to those pain points, not just DSTV, not just pay for electricity, but what about FISIP in Mwenilunga? What about social security, which the government is giving in Pulungu? How will it get there? So this is very important, and we work with different people so that we make that possible. I think that's primarily what we are doing. It's so big, we cannot spell it out all in this time.
Thank you very much, Charity, for that. If you have any questions for Charity, at this point, I'd ask that you type them in the chat section, and then at the end of this session, we shall come back to it and address it. Pretty much, if you have any questions, or if you have any questions, you may type them in. We hope that through this information session, you will be able to have some of your questions answered, but if they're not answered by the end of it, you are welcome to type in your questions and we shall address them towards the end. At this point, I will invite Simuza from BongoHive to talk a bit more about the challenge. You are on mute, Simuza.
Thank you, Peter, for the kind welcome, and thank you, Charity, for giving us an understanding of why it's important that we create an equitable table for people to participate in financial inclusion, but also to participate and to be enabled to exchange, trade, and have access to a well-being, which access to finance allows people, and you do amazing work there. I'd like to talk about what we do at BongoHive, and in doing so, give you a background and explanation into the challenge that we have brought together. At BongoHive, we say that we work with great minds, building viable solutions that will change the world. And this comes from this deep belief that we have that genius is evenly distributed around the world. So this means that whether a person is in Mumbai, Cape Town, San Francisco, Lusaka, Kitwe, Ndola, the ability for someone to face a challenge and to think of a new solution to that challenge that could potentially become a business is equal around the world. The difference that we have recognized is that what the person in a different country has compared to where you are today is that the infrastructure that allows them to get that may be different. And that is part of why we exist as BongoHive, to give you, the people that are thinking about new ideas, that are thinking of new solutions towards challenges, giving you that opportunity to get access to infrastructure. So access, whether do you have access to internet? Do you have access to APIs that allow your financial solution to connect to the broader context of the challenge? Do you have access to talent, people that can work together with you to build your solution? access to expertise, the people who actually understand the realm of finance, the people who understand the depth of the different things that could be solved, where the challenges are and the hurdles that need to be crossed over for businesses to succeed, and access to investment that actually allows businesses or ideas to actually take off. And part of that step is, how do we first of all get a good idea? And when we find a good idea, how do we then apply the different pieces of help towards getting the different resources to get that idea off the ground? And part of that is being addressed by this challenge. And the first part of this challenge is to go on a search for good ideas. And partnering with FSDZ and the various people that we've been fortunate enough to work with is our attempt at getting experts to come around your ideas, to listen to you, to work with you in getting those ideas to then address a market need, to find out from consumers and from customers what their actual needs are, and thus to validate whether or not your idea is something that actually solves something that they are concerned about. I will use a presentation in which I'll look at the background. I'll walk you through the background towards that, and I'll ask Peter to help me to set that up. So, the FinTech challenge that we are about to embark on, and which we are happy that you've decided to explore, seeks to discover and develop the potential FinTech startups in Zambia, with our understanding that FinTechs are companies that are using technology to solve a problem that may be in the financial realm. And it could be a challenge that is being faced by customers or consumers. It could be a challenge that is being faced by businesses, or it could be a challenge that is being faced by the financial industry themselves. It's open to anybody who has an idea. At this stage, we're not asking you to have built something. At this stage, we're saying, do you have an idea? And we are welcoming you to then have a conversation around your idea, which we will then take you through a process of thinking through what your idea is, how to improve your idea, and how to work on your idea. And also, very critically, whether or not you should be working on your idea. So the goal is to support the growth of the digital economy and the use of financial technologies by bringing in new ideas into the market, and that increase access to financial services for all Zambians. And we believe this will improve the livelihood of people, because when people can get access to their money, when people can send money, when people can make payments easily, or when people can put money and start to save it towards the goals that they have, we think that people's livelihoods will be better. But not only that, is if the financial institutions that work with these people, that save the money of these people, that handle this money, also are optimized and more efficient, that trickles down to better pricing and better access for everyone. And this is being implemented, like I've mentioned, by BongoHive and partner with the esteemed partnership of the financial sector deepening in Zambia, who you've heard from with Charity. So if we go to the next stage, what is the process that we are looking at? We are inviting you now to apply to get into the program. Your applications will lead us towards selecting ideas that will go through an one-day idea development support process that we call ideation. In this process, we say, what are the challenges? What are the consumer needs? And we just take you through the process of thinking through, does your idea, have you fleshed out, have you thought through your idea, and is it something that you can start to work on and apply it? And what we're trying to do with your idea is to say, is there a customer that actually believes you found a problem worth solving? Because if you can have an idea that has a problem worth solving, then the number of customers that will potentially pay to receive value from the idea that you're going to develop is something then worth starting. And if not, then it's a good chance to think about whether or not you should think of a new idea. Those 60 participants will then apply to get into the next level. We will choose 60 people from all the applications that are made. We'll choose 60 people to get into the ideation session. And from those 60, we hope that we'll get 60 ideas, which we'll look at, and then not just as BongoHive, but alongside experts, look at those and then come to a level where we say, can we change 20 participants who can then come through what we call a sprint week, in which we help you validate your idea and help you engage potential customers in grading your idea. So market research. Do you have an idea? What's the value proposition? How do you articulate it, and how do you communicate that? This will be a 1 week of workshops in which we will engage you, and the people that participate in this program will also get coaching from experts from FSDZ, other places, and BongoHive to think through and work around what the potential business model would be for that idea. So the idea will then move to the next level of being developed towards whether or not it has a business model. 2 ideas, these ideas will then pitch, and then out of those 2 ideas will be picked up to get one-on-one mentoring over a period of 8 weeks to develop those ideas a lot further, to think through and to do further market research very, very closely with more experts, and receive 20,000 kwacha worth of technical assistance towards their ideas. We'll go to the next slide. So what do we want to do? So how will we proceed and how will we do this? We will do this over 2 one-day ideation sessions, which we encourage 30 people to get through it, 20 participants, like I said, that will go through the 5-day virtual sprint, winners that receive the 8 weeks of idea support development from BongoHive and Financial Security in Zambia, with the winner receiving 20,000 kwacha worth of technical support to prototype and develop that idea that will then potentially can take it to the next stage. So where would your idea come from? The types of ideas that we are encouraging you to think about are ideas that work in the following areas. You could be thinking about an idea in payments, and this helps you to articulate this. Think about this as a way to articulate how you express your idea. Are you solving a problem in payments? Are you solving a problem in insurance? Are you looking at capital markets, which is investments, how people invest on the stock exchange and other places like that? Are you talking about giving people access to borrowing money and lending money? Are you talking about financial inclusion, those who do not have access to bank accounts and things like that, and enabling them to be able to access or to make payments or to transfer money? Are you talking about security and authenticating when a person makes a transfer? So if a person is working online and they're making a payment, how do we know that the person who is making the payment is actually Simunza Miyangana? What are the processes that says when Simunza Miyangana is sending money to Charity or to Peter, that Simunza is actually the person who's sending that money, but also that the money is actually being received by Peter and Charity because that's who Simunza is sending that money to. So authentication processes are a good place to also work. Are you looking at blockchain and being able to use the blockchain, not just for cryptocurrency, but also from the side of using the powers of blockchain to validate various processes of transactions that happen in the background? So even though money might not be, you could be working on receipts that are kept, and that the blockchain keeps records of transactional processes, so that when people come back to find out what's happening, the blockchain actually keeps records of those. There are various things that you're doing. We could think about cryptocurrencies, business solutions that actually help manage the finances and record keeping within the businesses better, and financial transactions that happen within those businesses. Are you looking at real estate and the economic system that goes around real estate? Are you looking at regulatory technology that helps regulators to manage processes and applications and licenses better? Are you looking at personal finance solutions, credit scoring, which is very important for lending, so that people who lend money know that they can trust people that they lend? How do we know? Are there systems that will say that when Simunza borrowed from Charity, Charity trusted him and Simunza paid back Charity, so that when Simunza goes to borrow from Peter, Peter can see that Simunza had a good record with Charity, and therefore Simunza should be allowed to borrow from Charity. It should be allowed to borrow from Peter. And of course, digital banking is a solution that we should be looking at. So once you've decided the area that you want to play, we are also encouraging you to think about solving problems that actually exist. And to come up with these challenge statements, we talked to people who work in banks, who work for in the financial service providers, including FSDZ. People work within banks, people work within transfer institutions, people work in various places. and ask them the question, what are the challenges they currently see in the financial space? And the problems they came up with were, although the financial services market has been proliferated by various financial solutions, so financial solutions do exist, there still exists much to be desired where customer financial literacy is concerned. So financial literacy is one of those challenges that we are asking you. Is the solution that you're providing based on the ones that you've come up with? So you could be looking at lending. Are people who are borrowing money financially literate enough to understand what the consequences of late payment are? Credit scoring, it affects the credit scoring. So are you thinking about financial literacy in the process of the problem that you're trying to solve or the solution that you're, so that's one challenge that you could. Most solutions are released to the market without adequate customer engagement, and that's something that we should look at. The next problem is people who are differently abled. We live in a world where everybody should have equal access. And because a person may be differently abled, we should then think around how do we use technology to enable people to be able to do something. If a person is not able to use a keyboard on a laptop, how do we, and does web banking or mobile banking then stop them from being able to do banking? What are the solutions that can be created that allow people to then, who may be visually impaired or may not be able to use various facets of their body, or may be disabled differently abled in different ways, be able to access solutions? So this is something we want to find out whether some of you have thought around which ones you should be able to. Now, I must state with regards to these challenges is we are not asking you to solve all the challenges, but to pick a challenge, one or more, that apply to the technology that you, or to the solution that you are then bringing on. A lot of people, it has been acknowledged that a lot of people are now earning income and now want to find ways to build their income towards goals that they may have. So whilst transfers may have been solved, can we solve for investment and how people can actually grow their money? How will people know what the various investment opportunities are? And if they can understand what the investment opportunities are, can they access those opportunities? So does your solution look into helping people to do that? Let's talk about savings. Savings is money that you keep aside, possibly for a rainy day, or possibly for a day, for a goal that you have in the future. Investment being money that you see grow and that can be applied towards, that you see and keep away with the intention of hoping that it will grow. Again, what solutions are out there that actually help people save? And solutions that actually help people see more than the charges that are laid on the account that they save money in, actually help lend towards their growth. Can you come up with something that does your solution help people say that money that they put aside, they can access it at a later date based on the goals that they have, or when they experience shock in their lives that they are going to be able to access it? Then, with all these solutions coming around, are these solutions able to talk to one another? Am I able to take savings that I have in one solution, one fintech solution, and transfer that to buying and making a decision towards better pricing in another solution by easily being able to move money between different technology solutions? So what are some of you working on interoperability that allows different operators, different financial service solution providers, customers who engage with all of them to be able to say, Bank X, mobile operator Y, financial service provider Z, my money is my money, can I move money from Z to X to Y? And easily do so, but also in a way that doesn't make me lose too much money. And we talked about credit scoring. A challenge that a lot of people talk about is access to finance and how they're able to, whether or not they're able to get money. We all know that whether people want to build a business or people fall short of money in the middle of the month, they would then find themselves in a position where they need to get more money. But people who can lend money, people who may have money that they want to lend, whether they're an institution or whether they are a person, face the challenge of, can they trust the people that they can lend the money to? So credit scoring is a mechanism that allows people to then say, for Peter to then say, Smunza, I have met you for the first time. What is your track record from other people that you have borrowed from? So that I know that if I am lending you money, your track record says you always bring back the money that you have borrowed. Such a system, if implemented, or such systems, if implemented, will enable trust to exist in our society, will allow different institutions to make quicker decisions as to who they can lend to. Because right now, for example, certain institutions will only lend money to people that hold accounts with them because there's a track record for when you get paid, there's a track record for the last time that you borrowed from them that you paid back in time. But more people need access. And so we need to be able to say, how do we create systems that allow different people to then be able to say, people or institutions to then make that decision a lot quicker based on track records that they can see. So this is a challenge that we possibly want you to think about. So once you've thought about where you want, that you've got a fintech idea, where your fintech idea applies, which challenge could be applied to the idea that you're thinking about, we want you to then apply. And here's the process of applying. The process of applying is, we would encourage you to visit our website. And the website is BongoHive FinTech.co.zm. Click on the page that apply and answer the questions that are there. You are welcome to visit. We are welcome on the website to contact us if you have any questions for any part of the questionnaire that you do, any part of the application process that you do not understand. You are also welcome to visit the BongoHive website and use the chat bot. Email us at contact@bongohive.co.zm. Approach us on Twitter or engage us on Facebook, and where we will be happy to engage you and help answer any questions that you may have, either on the process, your understanding of what a fintech is, your understanding of the categories that you could apply for, and your understanding of the challenge statement. We're happy to answer any of those questions for you in that process, and we hope that you are able to do this before the deadline, because then this is information that will be critical for you that will help you to critically answer the questions correctly before you. We will not give you an idea because these ideas are yours, but we will support the idea that you are currently working on. We will support you in answering the questions that you're currently working on, if you have any questions around those.
Thank you very much,
and I'd like to hand the session back over to Peter.
Thank you very much, Samunza. And just before I open up for questions, let me just spend some 3 minutes just to give some advice on how to apply. So like Samunza said, go to the website, BongoHive FinTech.co.zm. But when you're applying, the application form is made up of parts. So the first part, of course, is your personal information and details. Please fill out all those informations there. The next, we now want to get to know more about your business idea and what it is that you have. So what I would advise is, do not rush this process. Take some time. Think about what your idea is. If you want, you can write it down on a piece of paper. Talk to your friends or your family so that you have a concise idea. Write it in a Word document. When we say no more than 250 words, this should be kind of an indication of what you should write here. Don't write a one-sentence words, 10 words, and think that's enough. We want a little bit more flesh. So please try to be as descriptive as you can, because this is the basis. If you want to give examples, you are more than welcome to give examples. If it's a prototype stage, you can do that as well. But what we ask as you go through all these questions with us is that you explain. If you can give examples, that would be highly appreciated. If you've done any research, that would be highly appreciated. If you've done any work, that as well would be highly appreciated. So for instance, let me give an example. if you are working in a team, don't just say, I work with John, I work with Banda, I work with Tambo, and end that. What are they doing in your team? What are they doing? What roles do they have? Is one the tech person? Is one the accountant? Is one the administrative person? So that is the kind of detail we're expecting. Same thing if your business idea. Do not just say, we will help people save money. The question is how? What are you going to do? Are you developing a website? Are you developing an app? Is it USSD? We need detail, and therefore we have asked 19 questions, and you have to answer all those 19 questions, and that is what we use to choose the people to go forward or to come for the ideation stage or the 60. So please, please, please take some time and be as detailed as you can. And the timelines are, the deadline is 10th June, so you still have time. The participants will be selected by 15th June. The first cohorts will start on the 22nd to 23rd of June. Second cohort, 29th to the 30th of June. And then the sprint weeks start the week of 13th July. And the mentoring will be in August. So at this point, I'll ask George to help me with any questions in the chat that the participants would like addressed. We'll have about 10 minutes for questions and answers. If anything that has not been addressed by either Charity, Sumuza, or myself, you are more than welcome, or you need any clarity on anything that has been mentioned throughout this information session, you are welcome to ask your questions. Just type them in the chat and we shall address them. George? Okay, I think we've lost George. Let me just check. So the first question perhaps would be to Charity. The question is, why does financial inclusion matter? If you may unmute, Charity.
Thank you very much. Financial inclusion matters because it is one way to reaching the economic activity, okay? It's a one way of reaching the mass market. If people are not financially included, it means they're cut out from the rest of the economy. They can't borrow first when we break down financial inclusion. They have no access to savings. So even if they have little money, they can't put aside so that one day they can go and purchase, pay school fees, pay medical bills, which are actually economic activity. They can't borrow because I like the way that you saw the solution where someone can invest in fintechs. There's no credit record for them. So you wouldn't like to lend to them. You don't know them in terms of credit. They have no financial literacy. So they cannot understand and make informed decision. Critically, they can't make a payment. They can't send money or receive money. They have to put money on a bus. All the risks that are involved in the economy, they take upon themselves when the systems that exist in payment systems, in credit, in everything, have kind of inbuilt risk assessment and risk mitigation. So financial inclusion is important because that's what will change people's lives. I'll give an example in a savings group. I'm a member of the savings group. When I don't have money, I borrow from the savings group. I can borrow to start a business. I've done that before. I borrow, I pay school fees in advance and pay back easily. So I'm financially healthy. I'm not distressed because I know that I have access to financial service, which improves my livelihood. So what is the lifestyle for people, especially in the low income group? They are so intelligent, they are busy making do with the little they have, they jiggle it around, and if a financial service comes in, we see them grow. Today you can accept to a financial group that we had at church. A certain lady was selling vegetables. When she joined the savings group, she told us about her dreams, that her neighbor puts potatoes on the market stand and other things. She wishes she could do that. So with coming into the savings group, she now went and added on potatoes, added on eggs, added on other things, and she became financially healthy. And now she's stopped only selling vegetables. She now goes to Nakonde, sells shoes and sells rice and sells other things. So her whole economic activity in our house has been lifted. So that is what we mean by financial inclusion. It's an opening to a door of opportunity for everyone.
Thank you very much, Charity. I think this next question, Simuza, you might take it. Do I need vast experience in programming for me to apply for the BongoHive FinTech Challenge?
I think you'll be happy to know that you don't. Being experienced in programming helps you to logically think through how the interface and the back end of what you're trying to do is going to do. But working together with someone who has that experience could also be an advantage. This is why we tend to encourage people to form teams, because then the collection of expertise that you both bring to the table works to your advantage. So your strength might be that you possibly have financial experience, and then you might not have the programming experience. It means that you could work with somebody who has programming experience to develop a product. So no, you do not, at this stage, you do not need to have programming experience. It's a good thing to have, but it's not a must.
Thank you. And just to stress, at this stage, we're looking for ideas. So it is the ideas that we want. Okay. Can we link digital inclusion to financial inclusion? I don't know what charities would you like?
Oh, yes, we can. It's called Digitized financial inclusion. And we find that this is what makes it possible to reach the unbanked. It is very expensive to go to your village, my village, to go and set up a bank, a physical bank. But it is very reachable to go and open an agent and use the mobile phone as the channel for access. So that's why there's mobile money. And when we look at the growth in financial inclusion in Zambia, from 2010 to 2015, it jumped by close to 15 percentage points. Critically, when we analyze, this is the period that we see the birth of mobile money, Airtel, MTN, and so on. So digital financial inclusion has been one power of propelling increase in access to financial services. And that's why we're saying, as fintechs, based on what is already on the ground, build on other solutions on already what has been developed. Let's have more products, let's have more ideas. Yes, the two support one another.
Thank you, Charity. So can I correct my submitted application? I think at this point, because of this session, we shall allow that, but please do not fill out 5 in hopes of, if we see reckless applications, we shall disqualify. We may probably allow one or two, but more than that, I think would be too much. Simunza, my solution is based on cryptocurrency and blockchain. Can the solution work out? Are blockchains and cryptocurrencies legal?
All right. At this stage, you're welcome to submit an idea. Remember, it's just an idea. The legalities and the regulation around that, and that is why we are bringing experts into working together with working with you on your idea, is that at idea stage, you should be fearless. Whatever you have that actually you believe solves a problem, whatever you have that actually changes the market, at idea stage, you should feel free to express that. What we then do is, working with experts, we try to find out what does the law actually say. So I believe there's nothing against blockchain. There may be something around cryptocurrency being used as legal tender in Zambia. There is regulation. There is statement from the central bank around that. But what does that mean? And that is why those who will make it through the process, part of the mentoring will be engagement to actually find out what it means and where the potential possibilities of creating a workaround might be.
Okay, thank you. So we can now go to some chat questions. So, okay. So when the product, okay, let me go back to the top, sorry. Great to learn. So Cassandra says, great to learn more about FSD and what they are doing to reach out to the undeserved. So that was just a comment for Charity. How are you addressing
website? So she can
yes.
try to go to the website and get a few things. and send in messages. We'll gladly answer.
Great. So Kasande, you can go to the website and then you can get more information and you can contact them. Sumuza, how are you addressing the problem of big telcos to open up their APIs for small startups to create products in Malawi? In Malawi, the process is so murky and not open. I don't know whether this question is now in relation to what we're discussing today, because we're mainly looking at ideas and not the nitty-gritties of the process. I don't know if you have anything to say to that, Sumuza.
We have made, I think we've been, over the years, that has something that has been a concern and that has come up, is that how do people then get access to the rails and the infrastructure that allows them to then, their solutions to actually either take off in the market or get access to, or get used actually. The good thing is that the MNOs have come to play. And so one of the mobile network operators has recently opened up access to APIs, to a number of the APIs that they have. But also is that we now have players in the market, in the Zambian market, that have built infrastructure that allows payments to go over their infrastructure and to connect with different players. So that is something. There are APIs. It may not be all the APIs people would like to access, but we have made some progress, and we will continue to make progress over time.
All right, thanks. Will the presentation be made available? Yes, it will be. You'll find it at the BongoHive website under the webinar section. So this session will be made available. And then when the product is developed, does it mean ownership is passed to FSTZ and BongoHive?
No, it does not get passed on to BongoHive or FSD. These remain your ideas. Our work is to support your ideas.
Okay. So why ask what happens to the application I sent last time? Will it be reviewed or I have to send again? Why it will be reviewed if you're happy with it. If you feel that you do need to make an amendment after this session, I think we'll allow one. But if you feel like as you submitted it, it is fine, it is perfect, you have nothing to worry about, we are going to review it. At this point, in the interest of time, I will take these last two questions. Is it mandatory that my fintech idea should be profit generating? I'll hand this over to Charity.
Not necessarily so, but in the business world, we talk about sustainability. So if you're not making money from your business idea, how will we have you tomorrow to make even greater ideas? So if you'd like, you can have it for social benefit and social contribution, but it won't be long before we lose you. So we would like for it to give you two things, both money, you do it for the passion, but it also gives you a profit so that you can grow and we can have more from your intelligent ideas.
Okay, thank you. This last one maybe a bit Samusa. How far will you go to making a winning idea and make it to market? And is there any prize money?
All right. I think money, I'll start off with the prize money. Money is not always the challenge that ideas have to get into fruition. It is one of the challenges. But the biggest challenge that we've come across in helping people work with their ideas is money finding good ideas. So the process that we're currently working on is to help people develop good ideas. And if the idea is good enough and you've got the team and everything else that it takes, there's a great market opportunity for that idea to thrive. And not from a guessing point of view. And that's what we're trying to do with this process, is to take away the guessing and help people move towards data that can actually back them up to say, this is why this idea is a good idea. Getting towards the resources and everything else that actually could then push that idea into a business, and a business that could actually grow, starts to then take to shape. So there are other programs that we run that could possibly provide further support. But for the meantime, our focus at the moment is, can we help people develop a good idea and to articulate that good idea so that there's a business model behind that idea? Then we will engage further on after this as to what type of help does this actually need to become a reality, to move from idea to business.
All right. Thank you very much. And before we close, I'll ask Charity any last words, and also prepare your last words to the participants, those who want to apply, those also who are on the fence. What parting words do you have?
I think I want to encourage them. Give it a try. Believe in yourself. Come on board. You're not alone. We have very great teams from BongoHive and around the business community to help you. It is your chance to find out that dream that you've been dreaming about and put it into reality. Let your idea grow. So we're looking for solutions in this market. There are many things that are difficult to do. Find out what people are struggling with and come to us and say, I can solve it this way. And there'll be people around you who will support you, walk through with you, and give you help until we get to the desired end. So please come along. We are there for you.
Certainly. This has been a pleasure connecting with everyone here. And Zona was once an idea, Zazu was once an idea, and various other financial service providers in the market. We should think about the fact that they were once at this stage, where they were once ideas. And like I said, this is an opportunity to bring people together, to bring experts, investors, and other people together to help harness those ideas, to help them get to the place where there's a plan for what you want to do, there's an MVP that you can build or a prototype that you can build that actually shows that there are potential customers that you can actually, would potentially be your customers. And once there's an idea of that, we would really, really be excited about supporting you. And this is our reach out to say, let's work on your idea. It is your idea, and we want to help you get your idea into the market.
Great. And once again, please do apply. We're not asking for any application fee. There's nothing. It is free to apply. And if you want to apply, please go to BongoHive FinTech.co.zm. And if you have any questions, please, you can go to our BongoHive page, bongohive.co.zm. We'll be able to respond there. We'll also be able to respond through Facebook, through Twitter. It's all BongoHive, and we'll be happy to respond to all your questions and to any queries that you have regarding the application process and whether you are applicable, whether you fit to apply this. But we would like to encourage you. We'd like to thank everyone for participating in this info session, and the session will be available on the BongoHive website, bongohive.co.zm. You can go back to listen to it. It will also probably be available on our Facebook page as well. But once again, we'd like to thank you all for making time to be present during this information session, and we look forward to receiving your applications, and we shall connect with you. From me, thank you, Charity, thank you, Simunza, and to all the people participating and wishing to apply, good luck and all the best, and see you perhaps during the ideation session. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.